My name is Carlos Torres, and in April of 2019, I suffered from a traumatic brain injury. TBI is a complex injury which varies from person to person. I didn't have any cognitive or balance issues. In fact, I looked just like this. To most, they think I made a full recovery within 2 months. But little do they know that I'm coming up on my 2 years of, is there anyone out there that can help me? Like many of you, it's highly likely my doctors think I'm hypersensitive, and my list of doctors is extensive. I'm grateful for the recovery I've made so far, but my symptoms are still very real and affect the quality of my life.
This is episode 1 of my recovery journey.
So I'm a filmmaker, and throughout the injury recovery process, the one thing that I haven't stopped is producing films. And one of the things is that through my journey of finding how I could recover from my traumatic brain injury, I was thinking about how there are probably a lot of other people that are in the same position that I am. They are constantly online looking for the newest thread that has the answer to your recovery. Because that's me. I'm on Reddit and I'm part of the concussion subreddit. I'm part of the TBI Google community of researching anything and everything that I can find in relation to my injury. So, what is my injury? Subarachnoid hemorrhage, a delayed subdural hematoma. So, the subdural hematoma was massive. It was pretty much pushing my brain an extreme amount. A linear skull fracture, a concussion, a now post-concussion syndrome. And I've been to the ER 6 times, 10 CT scans, and 5 MRI scans were done because with the traumatic brain injury, I would continuously feel new things throughout the process. And of course, they couldn't tell what was going on inside my head because they needed to get a scan. What types of doctors did I see? I saw a neurologist, a stroke neurologist, vascular neurologist, a neurosurgeon, physical therapist, orthopedics, optometrists, ENT doctors, and tons of primary doctors. Probably every single primary doctor that my local facility had. And the approaches that I ended up following through my primary health facility was vestibular rehabilitation therapy. And it did work. I don't know why, but there was a stage which was probably one of the most inconvenient things that I dealt with throughout the recovery process was that I couldn't look down. I couldn't go like this. I couldn't lay flat. I had to sleep with probably like 3 to 4 pillows so that my head was elevated, because whenever I would lay down, I would get these intense headaches. I would get the spins. I was going through like a vertigo stage. Acupuncture, physical therapy for my neck, resting, that I just needed to take time and let my body recover at the rate that it recovers. Massage therapy. I tried CBD because online I found that there were some cases to where people saw some progress. Exercise, something I still struggle with to this date. A therapist. And I've tried these. What were my symptoms for the first year? I had increased intracranial pressure, tension headaches, all kinds of tension headaches, migraine auras, and it was weird because there was a point where I felt like I had a graying out filter on my eyes. It's not that I was losing my vision, but it was as if I had this film over my eyes. And if there is a stage towards losing your vision, I definitely felt like I was going towards that stage. Cluster headaches, cervical headaches, temporal arteritis, sensitivity to quick movements. I had vertigo. BPPV, noise sensitivity, light sensitivity. I had fatigue, I had tailbone issues from the impact that I had, which was a sport training injury, which I'll probably go into in another video. But my tailbone was killing me on top of everything that was going on up here. I had a loss of sense of smell and taste. But not only that, I would say that I lost my sense of smell and taste for about a month. It came back as if everything just tasted like burnt garlic. And then it moved on to a new stage of burnt toast. Everything tasted like burnt garlic or burnt toast for probably half a year. I had hints of flavor of the normal flavor that it was, but it wasn't without that addition of the burnt garlic or burnt toast. I had a left hand and left leg numbness. That was really weird stage for me because I constantly felt like I was having a stroke. And what ended up happening was that there was one day, and I would say it's probably 4 months into after finding out that I had the subdural hematoma, was that one day I was driving and my left hand just went completely numb for, I would say, 2 minutes. And then it would happen slightly to my left leg, but it wasn't really a complete numbness. It was almost like a mixture of numbness, tingling, and swelling. Once I moved past the stage of these random numb sensations on my left leg and my left arm, then it started going into my left hand feeling swollen. Like I had an excessive amount of blood trapped on my hand, as well as my left foot. Being in the film industry, and I'm a director, that's my job, as well as I'm an editor, so I spend a lot of time behind the screen. I was not able to talk for long periods of times. I would get this intense pressure on the right temporalis area to where I would have to whisper. And that made my life extremely difficult and challenging because one of the things that I didn't stop doing was I did my absolute best to keep on working. I would say that that's probably what kept my spirits so high throughout my recovery process, because I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that I was still able to maintain my mental clarity and creativeness, even though I was going through extreme torture throughout my entire body, but mainly my head. And I had orthostatic hypotension. So pretty much what that is that I would sit down and then I would just normally stand up like anybody else. And I would get this extreme rush in my head and pressure that I would have to drop down to my knees and just wait till my head would regulate itself. A full year into my recovery process, my neurologist told me that my brain made a full recovery. And then my neurologist told me that my symptoms would go away over time. So I've been waiting. The recovery process, I like to think of it as a continuous wave of feeling like I am getting better, but then it will go up and I'll peak into this new thing that I've never felt before. And then that sensation will go away. And then I'll be like, this is it. I'm going to get back to normal. And then this new thing pops in that I've never felt before. Then it goes away. And then I'm like, this is definitely it, because how many more waves are there? And then my head tells me that there's many more. So I'm riding the wave. What am I dealing with now? I'm 2 years into my recovery process. One of the main things that I really focus on is maintaining my mental health. Again, one of the most difficult things of dealing with my post-concussion syndrome and everything that I've been feeling isn't necessarily all these horrible sensations that I feel. And I will tell you, they are horrible, even though I look normal on the outside. But it's the fact that I fear a rebleed. I have this health anxiety of a fear of dying. And when I found out that I had the subdural hematoma, I swear I thought everything was going fine throughout that month. I was going back to the gym. I was starting to do normal things again. I knew that the 3-week period would be rough because I had a concussion, but through what the doctor told me and my research, I knew that it would go away. But the fact that that subdural hematoma came just out of nowhere is a fear to this date still. And I had to go to therapy, but it's just a fear that I have. And it's the fear of a rebleed. And if I could just let go of that fear, I know that it would probably help with the anxiety side of my recovery process. But it's a journey, and I'm trying. I also still have tension headaches. I have a lot of tension headaches. And it's a combination of tension headaches and neck tension. A lot of the tension headaches are triggered from talking. I've been talking a lot already with this interview. What does that mean? It means that I have a tension headache. And it's something that I constantly deal with every single day. Because what is my job? A director. What does a director do? Talks, directs. So I'm constantly dealing with tension headaches. And unfortunately, it's a part of my life. But I feel so close. And that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video. Is because I know that there are other people out there that feel just as close as I do. And a lot of the sensations that I feel are physical. So just like my previous sport injuries, when I've gone to physical therapy and I put in the work, I recover. But the thing is that with traumatic brain injury, and since everyone's journey is so different, you get to this point where your primary doctors tell you you've done all the things that we can offer. And now it's either going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life, or you need to give it time because it will eventually go away. But in my mind, I'm like, well, you need to put in the work to get to that recovery point that you want to reach. But I've had to do my own research, because what I've learned is you have to be your own advocate for your health. I still get that numbness on my left hand and on my left leg, and it has complete relationship to the tension that I get in my head, because this and down there doesn't happen unless this is going on. So, and specifically when it's pretty bad. And neck stiffness. That is something that I've been dealing with more within the past 4 months. And going back to what I said earlier, the wave, I'm on a new wave right now. I'm riding this new wave of neck tension. And I've posted on Reddit, I've told my doctors, and I still to this date haven't gotten a clear answer. And maybe I won't get a clear answer. Maybe there's no clear answer. But with this neck tension, I get this spasm on the top right of my ear. And it's almost like an electric spasm. Like it goes zzz, zzz, and it just does this like pulsing feeling up here. And it goes and it's tied to my neck area. And usually when I'm on my bad days and it's really kind of going off, that's usually when I have the tension headaches, and that's usually when all this is going on over here. So that's where I was like, something's got to be going on with my neck. Maybe everything isn't just related to my post-concussion syndrome. And I struggle to get active. Head pressure is something that I still deal with. This fullness, like a crown, or sometimes when I want to see whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I'll put my hand on the top of my hair, not even on my scalp itself, but just pat down on my hair. And when I pat down on my hair very lightly, I feel the pressure on my head. That's how sensitive my head is. Sometimes when I bite down on my teeth, just because I want to see where the tension is, I'll bite down and I can feel all these areas just amplified, and I can feel the tension throughout my entire head. The last thing that I would say that I'm dealing with, and I'm not sure if it's related, is this sharp pain on my right lower side, and things that I was able to eat prior to my injury. I never had any issues eating anything. I loved hot sauce. I loved spices. I loved bread and all of these things that I would just constantly eat. About 6 months into my injury, I wasn't able to eat bread. I wasn't able to eat spicy food, spices in general, because I would get this intense pain over here. So I'm on the low FOD diet. I'm trying to figure out what's triggering me, and so far, everything is triggering me. So since I've practically become a doctor myself, I have developed my suspicions of what's going on with me. And the first one is I probably have some neck alignment issues. When I had my injury, I fell off a platform that was about 5 feet, and I did a head dive backward, hit my head, did a scorpion, and there's no way that didn't mess up my neck. Now, through my research, I ended up finding something that was extremely interesting, and it was a term called ANS, the autonomic nervous system. And when that's damaged, you feel these sensations of head pressure and tension headaches when your blood pressure is elevated. And one of the things that I mainly struggle with is being active. I can't lift weights. I can't run. I can't do anything that makes me even a tiny bit active because I feel like my head's gonna blow. And then not only that, it gives me like a 1 week setback of just trying to get back to my not even good state anyway, because when I'm my new normal, I'm not even that great. The ANS consists of two parts. It's the SNS and the PNS. I'm not going to pronounce names because I'll most likely butcher it, but look it up. The SNS will be in a pretty constant state of overreacting. And that's what I feel like. I feel like everything that is going on is just constantly overreacting and is just amplified. Even to the point where, sometimes when someone says something snobby to you and you have the best reply back, and when you say it, you're so excited and amped off of it that your neck gets kind of tense. Well, in my situation, when that happens, my neck gets so tense that I feel like my head's gonna blow. So it's almost not even worth me making that point that gets me so pumped, because I feel like I might die. But I still make those points and I put my life on the line. Everything that I've researched in relation to the ANS being damaged literally sounds like what I've been dealing with for the past 2 years. I was recommended by my neurologist antidepressants because he said that it helps with migraines. That's something that I absolutely knew I wanted to stay away from, because through my research, I read that although it helped a lot of people with the pain in the head and maybe the tension headaches and migraines, I also saw that it affected their mental clarity, and it came with a lot of other symptoms. And due to my line of work, I knew that since my mental clarity was still there and I was still feeling pretty intact and sharp in my head, I did not want to go through some unknown stage of just feeling like I'm not myself and lose my creativeness. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I would like to do again. And one of the things is I used to be a professional paintball athlete and I had to retire due to my injury. And a lot of people don't really know why I stopped cold turkey. A lot of my friends will say, hey, get back on the field, come try out for this team, or just come out, just get back on the field and play for fun. I know you're working in your film career, but just be a part of the group again, come out. And I can't. And I don't know how to tell, or do I even want to say that I can't because of all the sensations that I still feel. And again, it goes back to a lot of people don't really know that I'm still recovering. And if I were to explain it to everybody, I just would rather do a video and have everybody watch it once so I don't have to explain myself a ton of times. All right. These past years have definitely been some of the most difficult times of my life, mentally and physically. But I've also had some of my largest accomplishments. My business partner Jake and I own a video production company, and it's called Cut Focus. We not only produced and completed a television program during the first 6 months of my recovery, but we won an Emmy.
NBC Sports Bay Area, SFG Productions. Sunday to Sunday, Father Chris Walsh, SundayToSunday.net.
And the Emmy goes to Sunday to Sunday, Father Chris Walsh, SundayToSunday.net.
On behalf of Sunday to Sunday and our production partner, Cut Focus LLC, we thank the Television Academy for this award.
I married my wife Karen Torres in my backyard because COVID wasn't going to stop us, and I continue to pursue my dreams. I know I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am in. I also know that I'm so close to making a full recovery, which is why I'm making this series. I'm sure there are many out there that feel so close and yet so far. That's how I feel. I'm going to document my search for making as close as I can to a full recovery by using various techniques from professionals that I've found through my own research. The first stop of this recovery journey is to try out the Atlas Orthogonal Technique. Like I said before, I suspect that some of my symptoms have to do with some spine alignment issues. That's where I came across this technique on Reddit. So, what is it? Atlas Orthogonal is a chiropractic technique that aligns the spinal column, allowing your nervous system to function optimally and your body to heal itself naturally. They use an Atlas Orthogonal precision adjusting instrument. That's my recovery journey so far. I hope that with this video, you can maybe relate. Maybe you see some symptoms that I've been dealing with, and now that I'm going to go through my recovery journey, I am going to do the heavy lifting for all of you. And if it works for me, then great. And hopefully it works for you. And if it doesn't work for me, then I'll let you know that it didn't work for me. But just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you. I am doing this for science. And most importantly, I'm doing this so that I can get back to normal and get on with my normal life. Thank you.